In downtown Malden, there's a place where many immigrants call home. Joining Yancey Lu over the live studio is Karen Glover, Director of Communication of the Immigrant Learning Center, to talk about the ILC's contribution to the immigrant community.
Thanks, Kisa. And Karen, welcome to our show today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so could you tell us what the ILC is doing to help the immigrants in our city?
Sure. Well, we help immigrants become productive members of society really in two main ways. The first is our English language program. So we offer free English language classes to adult immigrant and refugees in Malden, and also they come from all across Greater Boston. Malden has the advantage of good public transportation access. So they've come from 74 different cities and towns around Greater Boston. And they get free English language classes, 10 to 15 hours a week, which is more intensive than a lot of other programs, especially free programs, can offer. And it's at many different levels. So some of students come to us knowing virtually no English. They may even have little or no formal schooling from their home country and may even not be literate in their own language. So we're teaching them to read and write not only in English, but their first lessons in reading and writing. All the way up to students who know enough English to get by. I mean, that's sort of they all come with goals, right? So they need to learn enough English to meet their goal of finding a job, getting a better job, getting a driver's license, becoming a citizen. We have citizenship classes for students who are learning to become a citizen. We have some specialty classes, for example, of family literacy. So these are parents who not only want to improve their English, but need to learn about the American school system. You know, how do you read a report card? What is a parent-teacher meeting? You know, that's a foreign concept for some people. And in a lot of families, the children through school learn English faster than the parents, and it sort of creates this dichotomy. So we're helping them to reposition that. The other main area is our Public Education Institute. So we commission credible research reports, and then we do outreach to the public because we're trying to educate the American public about the benefits of immigration. So this helps our students because we want to create a more welcoming environment that they're going into. But you know, a lot of what we've heard already in the show are the negative perceptions of immigrants, and we have research that shows immigrants are assets to the country. So we want people to know that, and we also want policymakers to know that.
So I know this year is the 20th anniversary of the center. So could you tell us some the history of the center and how did it start?
Yes. So the school was opened in November of 1992. Our founder and CEO is Diane Portnoy. She had been working in adult education as a teacher. And what happened around the late 80s and early 90s after the Berlin Wall came down is there was a lot of immigrants that came over from Eastern Europe. So there was this big influx of immigrants, and there were very few services available to them to help them learn English. So, for example, we were the first free English language program in Malden, and Malden has a pretty large immigrant community anyway. And Diane really understood the need on a very personal level. So she herself is an immigrant. She came here as a child. Her parents were Polish Jews that had barely survived the Holocaust. The rest of their family actually was killed in the Holocaust. And so she understood what it's like to come here and not know the culture and not know the language. And she and her siblings learned English through the public school system, but her parents, you know, continued to struggle. So she understands how there's the adults in the family don't have the services and really have the need in order to provide for their families and make a better life to know English. So she and her colleague, Joan Brody, started the school, as I said, in November. And they had 60 students, and already they had 80 on the wait list. So this is a common thing you see in English language programs, is there's always a long wait list. And then by January, they already had to add afternoon classes. Today, we serve 900 students a year. And from the beginning of 3 teachers, we now have a staff of 32. So.
Okay, so I saw you brought some studies.
Yes.
So could you tell us some of your findings?
I brought an example of some of the latest ones. This one is Massachusetts Immigrants by the Numbers. So it gives a profile of the immigrant community in Massachusetts. Immigrants represent 14% of the Massachusetts population, and about half of them, about 49%, are U.S. citizens. You may remember that the congressional districts had to be redrawn in Massachusetts because the Massachusetts population didn't keep up with the rest of the country. If it wasn't for the immigrants in Massachusetts, we would have lost population in Massachusetts. So immigrants are an important and increasingly important part of the population. They're most concentrated in Chelsea, Malden, I have to look at my notes, Lawrence, Vineyard Haven, and Everett are sort of the top. Now Boston has the highest in terms of number of immigrants, but the percentage or the concentration of immigrants are highest in those other areas. And the countries of origin they come from are most often Brazil, China, the Dominican Republic, Portugal, India, Haiti, Vietnam, Canada. People are always surprised that Canada is such a high percentage. And actually, we see this reflected over the years in the school. So right now, a lot of our students are Haitian because of the earthquake. And when we first started, we had almost no Haitians.
Okay, thank you very much for coming to our show. It's really knowledgeable. Thank you. Okay, back to you, Kisa.